important game for me because I managed to score 2 goals in that game. But apart from that, it was just before the World Cup. It was May, I think it was, before the World Cup, and it was a vital game for England. Always nice to beat Scotland at Hampden, and it was Jeffers' first goal, I think, for England, and we went on to win 4-3, and it set us off, really, before the tour previous to the World Cup.
Surely no England player has ever relished beating Scotland more than Alan Ball, who at present is caretaker manager at Portsmouth. Ball was never a loser at Hampden Park, and in 1972, he won the game for England.
I can only remember it being a bit lucky, actually, a bit fortunate. I think the build-up was good. Played a 1-2, got in the box, and the keeper came. It was between me and him, and I think I just managed to get my toe to it, and it went through his legs. And I can remember Big Chivers trying to knock it in and claim it, but he wasn't getting any of it.
It was always something special for you playing against Scotland. Well,
they deserve me to be horrible because they're fans of that. They're horrible fans, and they really want to beat England. It was the only game they wanted to win. And unfortunately, their fervour rubbed off on us, and we were a really good side at that time, and it got us at it. And in many ways, it backfired on the Scots players because when you've got a really good side as we were, and you know, we really gritted at it and said, well, we're going to beat these because, you know, keep them quiet, that Scotch crowd and that, and invariably we did. So it worked the other way against them, really.
Kenny Dalgleish in 1976 was the last Scotsman to score a Hampden winner against the old enemy, one of the strangest goals in the long history of matches between the two nations.
Joe Jordan broke down the left wing and got across into the box, and I went to control it, and I miscontrolled it, and I broke a bit to my right, and I never had it with any real power. And Ray Clements tried to save it and threw his legs into the back of the net. But I don't think it reached the net. They don't have to, they only need to cross the line. It wasn't one of the most memorable goals, but you remember it because of the fact that it was a winner against England, I suppose.
Now, you weren't Ray Clements' teammate at that point, but you became that shortly afterwards. Did you ever remind him of the moment, during training, perhaps?
No, I didn't want to shatter his confidence. Big Tosh reminded him a few times, but I had to keep my mouth shut.
Well, there's no way after watching that you can talk about Scottish goalkeepers.
It was a bit dodgy, that one, wasn't it? I put that down to Clement's own goal.
Did you?
Yes.
You don't give it to Kenny?
No.
Well, you'll be annoyed at that.
I know he will be, yeah.
Well, now for this afternoon's action, and as you can see, the door wide open for Scotland or England to win the very last international championship. I'm sure Wales and Northern Ireland would have dearly loved to put pressure on the big two by winning at Swansea on Tuesday night. Instead, all they could do was share the spoils.
Joey Jones. And the referee playing an advantage as Jacket helped it on. And Hughes hits his second goal in only his second international. And Jim Platt beaten 6 minutes after coming on. Wales pulling numbers back. Here's Donaghy. O'Neill again. Whiteside. And Southall comes and didn't make it. And Jerry Armstrong got the touch that has brought Northern Ireland level.
Well, it's all set up really now for either team today to win this afternoon, to win the championship.
Yeah, it's interesting.
I'll tell you what I think is interesting about today's game, the fact that they're wingers playing for a change. You know, I mean, England have got theirs, but the Scots have got Davy Cooper. Now, a lot of people up in Scotland, of course, you know all about Cooper, maybe not so much the English. Now, we showed this goal that Cooper scored this season and on the ball.
Good goal, this.
Yeah, people were asking me, could I have a look at it again, because it's probably one of the most exciting goals that we've seen, because the skill that Cooper shows here. Had we watched that on any ground in the world, you know, would have said how marvellous it was, you know. He takes the ball away.
It is a marvellous goal, Ian, isn't it? Look. Oh, yes.
I mean, that's really super stuff, wasn't it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's a great
So, a lot, you know, the Scots are expecting a lot from Cooper today.
Yeah.
You know, to get the ball, take people on, you know, and get the crosses in.
Well, I suppose they are.
Well, yeah. And also, I would say, a lot of pressure on little Gordon Strachan, now that he's moved to Manchester United. But he's going to be a key man for us in midfield as well. Now, the little fella, I think, is a smashing little player. You know, he's the type of man who wants to get the ball, Jimmy, and try to dominate the game. This is a game in the World Cup against New Zealand. You know, and he can take people on. Now, he'll be getting the ball, hopefully today, and you know, taking the English fellas on. Actually held the defender off well there, didn't he?
Did very well there, didn't he? Yes.
A little buzzy player.
Yeah. Oh, he's a good player, Gordon Strachan. I mean, that's obvious, and I think that's the reason why Manchester United have bought him in. It's he is one of the outstanding players that became available, really.
Now, your side today, again talking about wingers, Mark Chamberlain, who, you know, I've seen Chamberlain, it can be very, very exciting, Jimmy, but on the other hand, you know, he can be a little bit...
Well, he's a hit-and-miss player, there's no doubt about that.
This is him playing for Stoke. He's going to pick the ball up
He will
now.
be lining up, actually, for his first full international. He's played before, but I think this is the first time he actually will start the game. And he is quick, and one would be looking for him to get down the line and get him behind the Scottish defence. And if things go well for him, he's a very dangerous individual.
Yeah. Now, what about up front? I mean,
what about up front?
What about up front?
Yes.
Now, Luther Miss it, as he's been called. Poor Luther gets into positions, Jimmy, never really knocks the ball in the net.
Frankly, I'm surprised. I mean, here we've got Luther coming up and scoring, and well, I mean, yes. But I'm surprised actually he played Luther. In fairness, he's had a very poor time of it at Milan, and he's only scored a couple of goals or so. I'd have thought he'd have given Gary Lineker a chance today, Bobby Robson.
Well, Lineker's a useful player.
Lineker's a useful player, but he's decided to pick Luther, so we'll wait and see, really.
Right, we shall wait and see. And a quick prediction, James?
Well, I don't know. They're betting outside which team's the worst. So I don't know. I'll go for a draw, I think, Ian.
Well,
I'll sit on the fence and go for a draw.
Well, I'll not sit on the fence. I'll take Scotland to win, so... Hand you now back to Dickie Davis.
Well, of course, the teams are underway now from their hotels, and they should be arriving at the stadium just before 2 o'clock, and we'll have pictures then, I hope, and we'll also get the reaction of the players at that time. Ian and Jimmy will be back at about 20 to 3 to bring you up-to-date match prospects. And until then, we have an ITV5 of racing on the flat from Doncaster and Ayr. But first, it's boxing from the United States. Well, the colourful and the powerful Hector Macho Camacho would like to break from his influential promoter, Don King. But while he retains the WBC junior lightweight crown, that isn't easy. Apparently, he feels if he steps up to lightweight, he can become independent of King and no doubt earn a fight against the world lightweight champion Ray Boom Boom Mancini eventually. This week, he took a step towards that fight with a fight against Panama's Rafael Williams at Corpus Christi in Texas, and we can see how he fared now. This is particularly interesting because Macho hadn't fought since last November. Well, we join us in round 4. The exchanges have been fairly even. Camacho has the light waistband on his trunks.
Oh. Here's Camacho right back at Williams. And this is where decided to step in. All over. That's it.
Well, the commentators there, Ferdy Pacheco and Marv Albert. A controversial finish, and Camacho may be just a little rusty. But nonetheless, victory for Camacho, who wants Boom Boom Mancini, and that could be a form line to a fight we're showing next week on World of Sport. Rafael Williams had in January lost on points to Livingston Bramble, and it was that fight that won for Bramble a crack at Ray Boom Boom Mancini's WBA lightweight title, and that is the scrap that you can see next Saturday. And on the same bill, another world title contest with Johnny Bumphus defending his WBA light welterweight crown against fellow American Gene Hatcher. Also on our program next week, we have coverage of the glamorous Indianapolis 500, the most valuable motor race in the world, and one that attracts no fewer than 300,000 spectators to the famous raceway. Well, the drivers have to win their start places by producing fast qualifying times. These sessions produce more drama sometimes than the race itself. Here's Bill Fleming looking now at those preliminaries.
The setting for the first day of qualifying was